Hello! Welcome to the last reading vlog of the year 2023, which will cover Christmas Eve up through New Year's Eve. 5 books left to reach the goal of 100 books. Now let's see how it goes. Sunday, December 24th. Happy Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas. 8 days left in the year 2023. 5 books to go, which is a little bit steep, but it's not going to be too difficult because I already was reading 2 of the books the week prior to this week, and I'll be finishing those up. Start reading 3 smaller books. Was reading Because of the Messiah in a Manger, because tomorrow is Christmas. I am religious. Jesus is very important for, he's the reason for the season. So I'm very excited to be finishing this because I'm not going to read a Christmas book at any other time of the year. So I got this last year for Christmas. I'll be reading this, finishing it tomorrow, and 4 other small works. December 26th, Tuesday. I hope your Christmas was good. My Christmas was very good, very enjoyable. It was a very exhausting Christmas because it felt like we were going through Christmas for 3 days because we had holiday festivities. So Christmas actually was only 45 minutes of Christmas festivities. It's a pretty relaxing, down-to-earth, laid-back Christmas that I enjoyed very much. Definitely gave me some time to rest and recuperate. And I finished book 96, Because of the Messiah in the Manger. A very good Christmas read, talking about different symbolism about the Christmas season. And it wouldn't be a good Christmas read unless you were fighting back tears at some points. And I was fighting back tears, and sometimes I shed tears. So good Christmas read all in all. So 4 books left to reach my goal of 100. And I think it's actually going to be a pretty seamless, easygoing week because even though I have 4 books left to finish, I'm over 20% done of all of the books I have left. And the 4 books I have left are You'll Come Back to Yourself, which is a poetry collection I'm enjoying very much, Finite and Infinite Games, Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones, and Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. 4 good short reads. Wednesday, the 27th, book number 97 done. You'll Come Back to Yourself by Michaela Angermeyer. And this is definitely my favorite poetry collection I've read for the year. And that's saying something because Rupi Kaur is a very good poet, and I've read 3 of her works earlier this year. Michaela Angermeyer, a lot of the poets I follow, they talk about like a breakup and how it changed them and how they're going to find passion again. They're going to grow stronger. All things a lot of people in their early adulthood go through. You fall in love. You think it's your person. They break your heart. And then like the phoenix rising from the ashes, you grow into being the person you're supposed to be. But this poetry collection by Michaela was the first one that like resonated with me on every page. She talks about an abusive relationship where she was the other woman. And he was cheating on her and she wanted to marry him and it didn't work out. And it was just hitting me in the feels because, not to get too personal, but like before I met my wife, I was dating a girl and we had planned on getting, it was working out. It was all looking really perfectly. I'd seen no red flags like one often doesn't see when they're in love. And we were getting to the point where she said, I think you should buy a ring. And so I remember buying a ring on a Saturday or the Monday, and then she dumped me like that Wednesday. And I was never given a reason. And it just threw me through a loop. It really wrecked me. But while I was going through that really dark time in my life, I found my assertive voice. I started standing up for myself. I grew to be a much stronger individual, and it led me to my wife. And because I went through this traumatic breakup, I was a person mature enough and strong enough to be the person that my wife chose to marry. So yeah, this poetry collection, Ms. Angermeyer, if I read some more poetry soon, it'll definitely be some of her other works. But really hit me in the feels. Really good stuff about how the dark times in your life will cause you to grow. And how it will cause you to see your self-worth. Every other page I was highlighting. Just beautiful stuff. Thursday, December 28th. Book 98 done. Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This was a thinker. It was cathartic, had a very cathartic ending, good character work, funny dialogue, interesting tropes, interesting themes. One thing you're seeing that a lot of authors are doing is they're kind of blurring the lines between advanced technology and magic. So like you've been seeing a lot in like current fantasy where like the first book in the trilogy, like, oh, this is magic. The second book, it's like, wait, it's technology from the future. Third book explains how, it never was magic all along. It's just many, many hundreds of years ago an apocalypse happened and we have leftover technology, because what is the difference to a primitive people between advanced technology and magic? Not much of a difference if you don't understand technology, if you don't understand electricity, if you don't understand all these things. And in Elder Race, Adrian Chikosky did a very good job at like showing how differently a futuristic society and a medieval society will view the same things. Even how the vocabulary doesn't match up. How like there's no word for scientists for people who don't believe in science. How, how futuristic societies may look at like medieval societies as a lesser society and might talk down to them, but they kind of miss out on a lot of the color and a lot of the interesting things that made life worth living when you compare it to their futuristic sterilized society. And Elder Race does a very interesting job because every other chapter it bounces back between futuristic point of view, medieval point of view of two people in the same adventurer party. And it's my favorite work from him. I think it's brilliant. I wish it was much longer. Some sad news. So I was going through all the books I've read for this year, getting ready to create a slideshow for the end of this reading vlog. And I realized I miscounted. Sometime in May, it was like book 22, 23, 24, 26. And it never recovers. So it's actually 97, book 97. So I gotta find a way to finish 3 books in the next 3 days. Friday, December 29th. I'm not quite sure how I did it, but finished 2 books today. I guess book 25 and book 99 for the year. Book 25 was Please Love Me at My Worst by the same poet from earlier this week, Michaela. And perhaps the previous collection I read was just a one-off experience for me because this one was also very good. Lots of good passages, very poetic at times. Even had some things that rhyme in this collection, which is one gripe I have about modern poetry. But yeah, this one, didn't like it as much. One thing I don't like about some people in modern day society is you should love me at my worst. You should love me as I am. I'm a complete product. I don't need to improve. And then it's but the person I want to be with, they better not be this, and this. They better be a complete product. So that kind of irked me. And the last 20% or so was kind of in that attitude. I'm nothing. But also, I'm more than enough. And it's just, that dichotomy that is very strange. Book 99 for the year was Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. The second book from him that I've read this year. Very plot twisty reads. Not exactly sure what's happening until the very end. His other book, The Night of the Mannequins, was kind of a miss for me. But I heard that if you liked Night of the Mannequins, you would like Mapping the Interior. And though Mapping the Interior had a better ending, would have made a much better movie. I think his works would be better as movies for sure. But yeah, I don't think Stephen Graham Jones is my thing. Perhaps I'll read one more thing of his next year to see if I can have a positive experience with him. But so far, not my guy. So read 2 of his work this year and didn't like it. One thing I did like about Mapping the Interior is the importance of memories and how a lot of memories we have growing up are implanted from people around us. So this tells the story of a young Native American boy who was raised by a single mom, and his younger brother has mental disabilities. And he's seeing a specter of his father. And the entire book is us figuring out, is it actually his dad or is this kid kind of schizo? But he's talking about how his aunts and his mom and his grandma always tell stories about his dad. So he doesn't even really remember his dad. He only remembers the stories told about his dad. And it's do you even truly know who he is? And interesting case study on trauma, how hurt people, and a very good twist at the end. But I think the tone of the book was just off for me. So yes, I've read 5 books already this week. I have to read another book next 2 days to make it to make the goal of 100 books in a year. But this is my 6-book week. Somehow it's happening. My Great White Buffalo. Sunday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, at 10:32 a.m. Today, I finished book 100 for the year, Finite and Infinite Games. A very thought-provoking philosophical read. It was a philosophical read. I was not anticipating being so highbrow and thought-provoking and difficult to absorb. I swear it took me like 2.5 hours to read the last 60 pages, but luckily, the babies did not sleep well last night, so I woke up really early and got that read done. So what did I do with the rest of the day on this lazy Sunday? I read some more. But didn't finish any other books, but I started some books that I'm going to be finishing next year. And I'm not quite sure what the goal is for next year. I'm going to be meditating on that. I'll have it figured out before the end of this upcoming week, that's for sure. This week was pretty special because a few cool things happened. First, page count. 804 pages read this week, which is first place since I have started, keeping track of page count per week. So that's the record for right now, the new personal best. Quite excited about that. Even though I'm pretty sure some weeks last year when I was reading a Wheel of Time book in 1 week, I read more than 804. But as of right now, on the record, 804 pages. Not half bad. Also, this week is special because I finally hunted down my Great White Buffalo. For those of you who aren't aware of what I'm talking about halfway through last year, because I had fallen behind in my reading goal, just like how I did this year. I was procrastinating. So my goal was to eventually have a 6-book week. And thanks to me forgetting to count thanks for me being 1 book behind what I actually had written down, I had to read 6 books this week, despite Christmas Eve and Christmas and New Year's Eve, 3 holidays, being on this week's schedule. I was able to get 6 books done. And I just imagine what I could have done if I was being able to read 6 books a week every week. That'd be 300 and something books a year. Not that that's ever going to happen. That's ridiculous. I have a day job. So yeah, Great White Buffalo. I got that. Now, I just got to be thinking about what's next. What's the goal for next year? It's not going to be 100 books. I want to read some manga. I want to read some graphic novels. Do those count as books? I'm not quite sure. This year was a really good year. I had a fight, my first fight in February. I won and I bonused. Made over 100K. Pretty exciting. Lost a fight in November. Got injured. Missed out on a fight in July. But had a baby. And yeah, life's a roller coaster. That's one thing my old coach at one of my gyms used to always say. Life's a roller coaster, up and down, and you don't have control over it. But I really enjoyed the ride this year. I enjoyed reading 100 books. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I discovered so many interesting series. I wrote out the script to several book videos you guys are going to be seeing this upcoming week. You're going to be seeing a lot of videos for the first week of 2024 as I kind of think about what I'm going to be doing for that year. What books I plan on tackling, what series I plan on completing. Lots to get done. Speaking of finite and infinite games, every year I have a different reading goal. But I'm a bookworm. It's an infinite game. I'm never going to read all the books I want to read. The TBR pile will always outpace me. I'll die trying to read all the books I want to read. And it's a kind of an exciting thing. Thank you guys for watching the last week of 2023's reading vlog. I'll see you guys next year. Happy New Year.